What time is it?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Fridays at 2. It's time to delve in the shelves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Fridays at 2. It's time to delve in the shelves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Fridays at 2. It's time to delve in the shelves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Fridays at 2. It's time to delve in the shelves.
Peace-filled greetings. Looking for your next interesting thing to read? Welcome to Delve in the Shelves. If you're new here, we research and preserve the local and national history of the Underground Railroad movement, its international connections, and its legacy to today's social justice issues. Through our many interactions and programs, such as this one, we empower people of all ages to be agents of change toward an equitable and just society. So, what's your next wise move? Hit the subscribe and bell now, so you won't miss what we find
in the
next.
shelves.
And now, let's delve in the shelves.
Today, we'll be sharing The Thing About Bees, a love letter by Shabazz Larkin, and we'll also look into the story of George Washington Carver, the man who overcame. It's an autobiography by Elliot. All right, so let's find out the buzz on these bees. Now, I'll tell you, we can all thank a master gardener friend of mine, Jan, for recommending this book. She knows I'd like to be in the garden, but struggle with the thought of being around a bunch of bees. Let's see if this helps. First off, I love the art. The bees look friendly. Sometimes bees can be a bit rude. They fly in the face and prance on your food. And yet, without bees, we might not have strawberries for shortcake or avocados for tacos. Shabazz Larkin's The Thing About Bees is a Norman Rockwell-inspired Sunday in the Park, a love poem from a father to his two sons, and a tribute to the bees that pollinate the foods that we love to eat. Children are introduced to different kinds of bees, how not to get stung, I like this already, and how the things we fear are often things we don't fully understand. Okay, let's get right into it. When a bee and a flower love each other very much, a fruit is born. Yeah, I think I'm starting to get into this. Says here, the flower makes a sticky yellow dust called pollen. All right, we're off to a good start with this book. And then here's the thing about bees. This is sweet. And the illustrations have some funny moments, some real moments, and some things that we can all relate to, and some good lessons. The pictures are so detailed, vibrant, and well drawn according to the storyline that you can't help but get caught up in your own imagination. As stated by the author, I have a lot to learn from bees. And the icing on the cake, where we get into everything you need to know about how not to get stung. Genius. Shabazz Larkin made his picture book illustration debut with Farmer Will Allen and the Growing Table, followed by his author/illustration debut with a moose bush. A few choice words about food, both named American Library Association's notable children's book and published by Readers to Eaters. He is a multidisciplinary artist and an advertising creative director. It says here he lives in Nashville, Tennessee with his wife and two sons. Overall, this book is perfect for all my wise, empowered learners who know that you can get knowledge and use it. Now keep an eye out for the garden series. After reading this book, I'm feeling a little more empowered to work out among the flowers. And speaking of the garden, let's get to our next interesting find, George Washington Carver, the man who overcame. Now this book is a biography and was written by Elliot. The content inspires me and perhaps even calls me to learn more about the wonders and greatness of the garden. But let's first find out a bit about George Washington Carver, the man. It says, he was a Negro born into slavery. He was orphaned before he could walk, and he was plagued by prejudice, poverty, and ill health. But he became one of the most remarkable human beings who ever lived. He was George Washington Carver, who triumphed over bitter and frustrating obstacles to become a benefactor of all mankind. In this passionately moving biography, Elliot has brilliantly recreated the story of a man who never looked for fame and fortune, yet found the world coming to him for his knowledge and friendship. George Washington Carver, after years of struggle to earn his master's degree in agriculture and bacterial botany, felt it was God's plan that he should turn his knowledge back to his people. So in 1896, he journeyed from Iowa State to Tuskegee Institute in Alabama to join Booker T. Washington. There he stayed until his death 47 years later. And more than a scientist and a doctor of plants, Carver was a man of many talents. He toured as a pianist to raise money for the Institute, wheeled a wagon and a mule through impoverished, isolated farmlands to demonstrate the techniques of raising, improving, and conserving foods. At the Institute, he learned money to enlarge its acreage and designed and landscaped its campus. He won the friendship of 3 presidents, Theodore Roosevelt, Calvin Coolidge, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Spent 3 weeks teaching the Crown Prince of Sweden agricultural methods and corresponded with Gandhi, and more. It goes on to say that here is a thrilling story of a man, his courage, and his genius, a portrait of an American you will never forget. Now let's look at what's in the book. We have the foreword, the slave who freed the South, the ransom was a racehorse, and I'm curious about that chapter, the lesser rose, to learn and labor truly, Tuskegee, the movable school, let's come back to that, and Mr. Creator, why did you make the peanut? Yes, I imagine we'll find out about why we went from cotton as a major cash crop back then to and moved it to the peanut being such a revolutionary crop to overtake the southern states. Oh, who knows? Maybe we'll even read about how we got to eating peanut butter today. And then the sands of time, the years of harvest, and a time to die. I imagine we're going to learn a lot about the man and his great accomplishments from this book. And let's peek into that movable school. The movable school. It starts off by saying he wanted to write bulletins on farm improvement, but what good were bulletins to farmers who couldn't read? So he made a bulletin, quote, bulletin, 20 acres across, the school farm. And if you lived too far away to come see it, you could expect him in your front yard some Sunday morning. I'm from the Institute, he would say. My name is Carver. And he'd get to work. Wow, inspiring. I guess if you don't know about his great contributions to today's gardening and science practices, then this is definitely a book to read. I'd say this is a book recommended for our social and science lovers. Yeah, social science lovers. Those who get inspired by learning about the impact people make. And if nothing else, read this book to learn about perseverance, especially if you do or want to start any gardening or science work. Oh yeah, and did I mention, stay tuned for what's going to be an upcoming garden video series coming soon. I have been inspired. Well, thanks again for watching us today on today's episode of Delve in the Shelves, where each week we introduce our wise audience to fascinating books and other great reading material. Click the description link below for more info on where you can find today's books. Also, how you can help us expand our ever-growing library. Until next time, treat yourself to knowledge and become wise and full of understanding.